Tonight's meditation is just me and a couple of students. Let's go. We're going to do the question of the week. What is the last thing that you've done that's worth remembering? This is kind of a loaded question. It invites in a lot of judgment, and that's not necessarily what we want. So I'm going to try to explain it in a way that does not involve a lot of judgment. We have a tendency, because this is how human beings work, we love passing judgment on things and saying, this was good, this is bad. All of our best stories are like, there's a bad guy and a good guy. It's good versus evil. And this is a way of looking at life and the universe, but in my experience, in my opinion, not a particularly useful way of looking at it. All of that judgment kind of slows us down or stops us. What is more useful, in my opinion, is basically what works and what doesn't work. And when we look at the idea of what we've done in life that's worth remembering, it's really tempting to pass the judgment on it and say, like, this was a really good thing. That was a great memory. That was worth remembering. Or this was a bad thing, or it was just boring, or it wasn't very impressive, so it's not really worth remembering. Practically speaking, if something just works, you're not necessarily going to remember it, but you can still have it work in the way that you are totally present and in the moment. So an example that some of you have heard me talk about in past meditation talks is when I was on Kung Fu retreat years ago in Michigan with my Sifu, and we were all practicing Tai Chi. We were on a big basketball court, bigger than this dojo, and we were all just doing, I think it was like stroke the bird's tail down the basketball court. And I was having a really nice moment. I was just there. It was beautiful. We're basically in the woods. It's sunny. It's like 70 degrees. It's been a really lovely weekend. I'm not too tired, which is surprising for a retreat. And we're doing Tai Chi, and I'm really in the moment. I'm kind of in this nice flow state, and I noticed this white feather that's just laying on the ground 20 feet away from me. And I notice it. And I don't stare at it. I don't think, who put that feather there? I don't think, that's a good feather, that's a bad feather. I don't think, I'm really bad at Tai Chi, I'm really messing this posture up, or I'm so amazing, I hope everybody's looking at me right now. I'm not thinking any of that stuff. I'm just totally in the present moment, me and that feather. This inanimate object and I have this connection, and it's complete because there's nothing in the way. I just notice this feather, and then I go right back to doing Tai Chi. But the moment there of me just noticing this feather on the ground, it seemed to last for like minutes, and it was like that. And this is the way that I want to talk about a life worth remembering. And it is simply about being present. And you can be present for things that you consider good or bad. You can be present for things that you consider to be neutral. My favorite thing to work on being present for and being fully aware of are the most mundane moments of the day. Because unless you are living in a movie or you are some kind of super dramatic person, most of your life is mundane, or would be mundane in a movie, right? Nobody's making movies about people who are just walking to the grocery store, buying groceries, going home, cooking food, eating it, watching TV, going to sleep. It's boring. Unless you are a master in that moment of your attention and your awareness, and then every moment is perfect and complete and holy and you are brought so fully into life that it feels like you don't need anything else. This is what we are attempting to become. This is what enlightenment is. This is what a fully kind of realized person, martial artist is. It's somebody who's fully present and is not wanting for anything else. So this idea of being free from desire, and it's like, what I have in this moment is perfect. It's enough. I don't need to be anywhere else. I don't need anything besides what this moment has. Now, that sounds simple, and it also sounds impossible, and it is both of those things. And one of the reasons it is so impossible is because it is so simple, and our brains don't like simplicity. Our brains love complicated, dramatic, and that's why we're very often trying to create those things in our life, right? Our relationships are like we're constantly fighting, and we can't just drive to work. We have to try to race everybody else who's on the freeway with us. And every moment that we can find for conflict and drama, we inflict that upon ourselves and other people. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm here to tell you there is a better way, and it's simply being in the present. So let's take the example of being in traffic. Another memory, and I'm not just going to talk about myself all night, but it's kind of what I have to draw from the most. So most of you know that in Michigan, I used to drive from college in Ann Arbor to the Detroit area, and I'm forgetting what it's called right now. It is an area right next to Royal Oak called Berkeley, Michigan. So it's the martial arts school that my Sifu has at 12 Mile and Woodward. And it was usually about an hour there and an hour back. And some of my absolute favorite times were me driving to the dojo. And it's for a couple of reasons. For one, as I'm driving there, I'm thinking the whole time, ooh, I'm like on my way to do the most fun thing in the world. There's nothing that I'd rather be doing. And then I would catch myself kind of like stepping on the gas to try to get there earlier and starting to race people. But then I remind myself, wait a minute, I'm traveling to the dojo where I learn to be patient and calm and present. So why don't I just do that now? And so then that's what I would do. And sometimes I would choose, and this is something that I cannot recommend enough to all of the drivers in Los Angeles. Choose a lane and stay in it, and do it for the whole ride until you have to get off the freeway or whatever. Because you'll notice that it doesn't actually make a huge difference in time. It might make 1 or 2 different minutes worth of difference, but this takes away all of the anxiety and danger from your commute. You're literally just there. And when the car in front of you is going slowly, you're matching that car's energy just like you do with a partner, right? If Meryl's my partner, and I don't know if you've done any push hands, but let's say we're doing push hands in Tai Chi, right? If she's going faster and harder, then I'm kind of like matching that. If she's going slow and she's relaxed, then I'm matching that too, right? If we all drove like this, there would be no traffic in LA, and we would all be a lot happier and calmer and healthier. I'm telling you, this sounds like a dream, but it is possible. I believe this deep down inside. So, just being there in your car, right behind the car in front of you. And I remember in particular, there was one trip when I was driving back on a Thursday night to get to meditation. I was supposed to get there in 1 hour and be there for 2 classes before meditation, but there was snow and there was traffic, and I was in the car for 3 hours. And at any point, I could have just decided, forget this. I hate being in traffic. I'm just going to turn around and go. But I just thought like, hey, this is not too bad. It's kind of nice just sitting here, and you know, what the heck? I'm going to go there and sit for meditation anyways. I may as well enjoy sitting here in the car. And it was one of the nicest 3-hour drives I have ever had. So these moments in my practice, they are far from the most dramatic. I have had lots of dramatic moments in my practice. Some of you have heard about those, getting my eardrum perforated, or doing something that looks really stupid, or doing something that looks really amazing. And all of these are great, perfect moments. But most of us get in the car and drive every day, and it should not be dramatic every time you get in the car and drive. Maybe your air conditioning or your radio's not working, and you get really pissed off about that. Or maybe your radio doesn't work and you think, oh, my radio doesn't work. Time for me to just be in the present moment. Time for me to enjoy this breath. Time for me to enjoy being behind this car. I promise this whole talk won't be just about driving, but one of the best pieces of advice I heard about driving was, I can't remember for sure. I want to say it was probably was Pema Chodron, somebody who's really good and had this great idea. And I think she writes, when I'm sitting in traffic and I'm behind this car in front of me and the brake lights are going on and off as I'm just in this traffic, I imagine that the brake lights in front of me are the Buddha's eyes. And Buddha's just sitting there blinking at me like this. And how can you be anything other than just present and enjoy the moment when the Buddha is staring at you and blinking? Of course. Whether you want to visualize Buddha and the cars in front of you or whatever, take that opportunity. The moments where we are forced to go slow are oftentimes the moments where we are the most frustrated, and the moments where we have the best possibility or opportunity to just be totally present. So you would probably judge from the title of this talk, A Life Worth Remembering, that I'm talking about all the amazing things that you should go out and accomplish. And you should definitely do that. If there is a dream that you have, you don't want to waste your whole time in life and then arrive at the end of it. My Sifu likes to say, if you wait too long to decide what you're going to do with your life, you'll wake up one day to discover that you have done it in a bad way, because your life is over and that's it. You've done all that there is to do because you're dying. And this is certainly related to being in the present moment, because what we have a tendency to do is put things off. I don't know if you are, like me, a human being that loves to procrastinate, or at least before martial arts did it religiously. That was my religion, procrastination. And procrastination is the antithesis of being in the present, because what you're actually doing is saying, this thing that I know that I should and want to do right now in the present, I don't want to do that. I want to put it off and just have it be in the future, where I want to, think about the past or whatever it is. So let's say that we have a goal. Give me a goal. I know you got lots. Give me the first one that comes to mind. I want to do the splits. You can't do the splits? I know you're closer than I am. So your goal is doing the splits. In this moment, there are only a couple of things that you can do that will help you do the splits. You're working out to warm up. You're doing some kind of a dynamic stretch that helps you with the splits, or you're just doing the splits, right? That's it. You would say, I want to read about it or watch a YouTube video about doing splits. Okay, but something that is directly related to that, there are only so many things that you can do. There is a whole universe filled with things that people do instead of doing the splits and getting better at doing the splits. And I know this again from personal experience. There's nothing that I would rather do than anything other than trying to do the splits. So what does that look like? I'm trying to be in the present, and instead of thinking, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, I just do it now. You choose one of the things that supports you in your goal and you do it right here, right now. Now, doing the splits is a simple example. I'm not going to say easy, because the vast majority of humanity will die before they ever get the splits. But If it is something that brings you joy, it's something that lights you up, it's something that you know, like you connect to this in some kind of a way, and it's important to you, then you should do it when? Now, today. This is it. And this is another way that we build a life or live a life that's worth remembering, is we fill it with memories that we have created or that we have in the moment accepted and fully embraced. And that's really just the two modes of life, is we choose to create great moments by stepping forward towards our goals and doing these things that energize us and excite us. Or in the present moment, we accept exactly what is happening. And in that acceptance, we are fully present and fully able to experience whatever that is. This is what meditation is. Many of us started meditation with some kind of a specific goal in mind. So I heard, before I ever meditated, I heard my Sifu talk about meditation, and it was some kind of high motivational talk about enlightenment or being happy all the time or something like that. And so I sat down for my first meditation and I was like, yes, I am going to become enlightened and do it. And I did not become enlightened in that meditation. I had one moment of clarity, which was beautiful, and then I had a painful meditation where I ended up curled up into a ball inside of the room. And that is how meditations will go sometimes. But we cannot reach those big, bombastic, exciting goals and moments without first accepting where we are now. So acceptance is the key to being in the present. If we wish that we were somewhere else, someone else, I was talking to the kids about this earlier. When I was young, I hated my life and myself. Not hate's a strong word. I didn't like myself. And I literally wished that I was somebody else. And there were a couple of kids in my class in middle school. This was in 3rd through 7th grade. And I would consistently have this thought, like, I wish that I were that kid, right? There's a kid who was the fastest kid in class named Chet. And I was like, I wish I was Chet. I want to be the fastest kid in class. Then I would be cool and people would like me. And it's ridiculous thinking about it now. And I think that if you take a good hard look back at your life, the vast majority of stuff that you felt so strongly about is going to seem that ridiculous. But we have to learn to accept that that is who we were and that this is who we are right now. So if you can't accept who you are now, you certainly can't become the best possible version of yourself. And acceptance is different from being overwhelmed by life and giving up. Acceptance kind of has that connotation for some people. You think, I give up. I'm just, all right, I guess this is just the way I'm going to be forever. No, acceptance happens in this moment. This is exactly who I am right now. That doesn't mean that I accept that I am this way forever. It means that I accept this in this moment, and then the next moment I can go. So acceptance centers us, and it shows us exactly where we are. Life can feel very often like you are running through the woods, and you are running as fast as you can, and holy crap, there's a tree, I have to dodge it, and holy crap, there's another tree, I have to dodge it, and it's very frantic. And it is very hard to find acceptance in that kind of scenario. But acceptance is when we are able to just stop. And especially if you can have a little bit of a clearing, and this is what we can think of meditation as doing. It creates a clearing for us in the woods. And now we can look around and we can see where we are, and we can choose what direction we go in. Again, that can only happen in this present moment. So we want to kind of fill our lives with those little clearings, those little moments where we inject a little bit of stillness, mindfulness, and total presence in whatever we're doing. Now, what I love to do, and I think that this will work for all of you as well, is the very thing that is what we are basically trying to let go of. This thought of, I wish I were somewhere else. I wish I was doing something else. Why can't I get there faster? So I got to drive faster. Right? The very act that is us trying to get wherever we're going faster or whatever. The recognition of that thought, of that instinct, of that anxiety of go, 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 can and should be the best trigger for us. It's the cue for us to come back in the moment. And we have to laugh at ourselves in that moment. This is the best way to do it, right? You recognize that you're trying to race everybody to get to the dojo for Tai Chi so that you can then be relaxed. You should laugh at yourself because that's ridiculous. Just relax where you are right now. If you show up to class 5 minutes late and you tell me, Sifu, it's because I just stayed behind the car that was in front of me. I was just trying to be in the present. I was relaxing. Then I will let you on the mats without saying another word. If you're late because you were trying to get here really fast and you crashed your car, then I will have words for you. But the point is to try to create or transform these moments of anxiety, these moments of trying to speed through life, into the cue and the invitation into the moment. So this requires a lot of awareness, a lot of presence of mind to be able to recognize when we are just in that state and to flip it on its head, right? So we are in here and we have this thought that says, I gotta go fast. And then the second thought, which some of you have heard me talk about the second thought, very powerful idea. The second thought is, wait, do I though? Is that actually true? Do I have to go fast right now? And if your second thought is questioning something that you've just always accepted or always allow yourself to be dragged down into, then that gives you the clearing to decide, actually, I don't have to be in a hurry right now. I can just be here now. So meditation is one of the best ways of reprogramming our minds to recognize the thought when it comes up and then letting it go. And Tai Chi and Kung Fu and our physical practice, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is an opportunity to recognize when our mind gets very busy and it gets in the way of us, and we just allow that to go and just be totally in the present. A great example of that is your partner's trying to punch you, but you're over here thinking about something, you get punched. You are standing in front of your partner and you're trying to guess what they're going to do, and you're thinking, I think they're going to punch with their right hand. I think they're going to kick with their left leg. I think they're going to try to take me down. I think they're going to whatever. All that thought is messing you up in the moment. You're stuck in the thick of the forest. So create the clearing. And when you have that experience in sparring, for example, instead of it being like your partner's punches are flying out of nowhere from behind the trees, it's like you're standing in the middle of this wide open field and their punch comes from like a mile away and you can see it, and it's like, oh, they're trying to punch me. I see what's happening here. And then you slowly get out of the way because you recognize it so quickly, so easily. So this is what we are trying to at us. It's not coming with such a ferocious speed. So when we sit tonight, you are, depending on how you're starting your meditation, it will likely start with some kind of a bombardment of thoughts. You'll sit and then you'll start to have thoughts of, what am I going to eat for dinner? Or where am I going to go after this? Or I got to walk the dogs, or whatever else it is. I got to walk my cats. Whatever the thought is, you accept it and then you let it go. And you come right back to the present moment. And this is nice because in meditation, we have set aside this time to be present and literally do nothing else. And when your mind starts to, create this drama and tell you, I got to think about this thing, I got to do this thing, you remind it, no, you don't. I don't have to do anything because I'm here for the next 15 minutes with nothing else to do. I already know that I don't have to do anything because I checked my calendar beforehand and I set aside a time. I'm good. I can take this time and enjoy it. So whether you're like me and you are thinking of meditation as like, this is my highest form, is I'm going to meditate to enlightenment and, become Buddha-like, or you're just thinking of meditation as I'm here in this moment and any chance I can get to let go of the anxiety and the extra thoughts and just relax for a moment. All of that is the same thing. It is all just coming back to this present moment. And in this moment, every breath in can feel like you are breathing in the entirety of the universe, and the breath can last as long as your entire life or infinite lives if you're totally present for it. You can stretch this moment to include an entire lifetime worth of experience and worth of mindfulness and being present. And this is what we'll finish with. Back to being a kid. When you're young, summer lasts forever. Summer still lasts forever for you. And it's because everything is new and exciting. It's because you're doing things that are dramatic and novel. Well, there's only so much of that in life. And it's at a certain point, you start repeating things and your summers start to look kind of the same. And then eventually your summer doesn't even exist anymore. You're just working all the time. And summer doesn't seem to last forever. Summer is like that, but it doesn't have to be. And neither does any moment or any day of our life. None of it has to pass us by like that. You hear, it's such a cliche, but everybody, as they get older, they say this, like, this last year went by so fast. And it seems like, my child grew up in the blink of an eye. That does not have to be the way that it goes. We do not have to accept this. We accept that that's the way that we are now, but we move into the next moment, into the next day or the next year or the next decade with this in mind, being totally present. And in meditation, you don't have to be stuck on this cycle of thoughts. You can just let that go and be in this breath. And this breath is so full and so expansive and perfect that nothing else could possibly be better. Nothing else could be more interesting or more worth your time and your attention than this breath. And if you can do that with this breath, then you can do it with the next breath. And then you can do that when you open your eyes and when you start driving and when you're stuck behind the car or when you're taking your shoes off when you get home or anything else. This is how we have a life that's worth remembering, because we choose to be present for it. We choose to be totally in the moment so that it is full and perfect. Sit comfortable.